Good evening. Calling this meeting to order. Today is Monday, January 8, 2018, our regular scheduled Daly City Council meeting. And so we're moving on, and so let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. May we have roll call, please?
Ms. Christensen?
Here.
Mr. Gangona?
Here.
Mr. Buenaventura?
Present.
Mr. Sylvester?
Present.
Ms. Manalo?
Present. And so I'd like to ask our city manager at this time to make a special announcement to our community.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, members of the council. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to announce the appointment of a new member of my leadership team. Many of you know that last month, the police chief, the Daly City Police Department, Manuel Martinez, resigned his position and moved to another position with the city of Salinas. So it created an opportunity for me as city manager to appoint the next new police chief, actually the 14th police chief in the history of our department. And so it is my pleasure tonight to, although the word has already leaked out, it wasn't a secret, but it is my pleasure to announce to those members of the public who are here tonight and those who are watching at home that I've had an opportunity to consider two extremely talented candidates. And I'm telling you, I've made a lot of appointments of department heads and other executives throughout my 38 years in local government. But this was the hardest because I had two exceptionally well-qualified individuals with our two captains, Captain Pat Hensley and Captain John Gomez, both of whom have been in our department for 23 years. And they have served our department well during that time. But tonight, I am pleased to announce that the new chief of our department is Captain Patrick Hensley. Yay. Captain Hensley? Just by way of background, for those of you who are listening tonight, Pat Hensley, as well as John Gomez, have spent their entire law enforcement careers in our department, and we're very fortunate for that. Pat's been a member of the department for 23 years, and I might add, prior to that, many of you who've known him for a long time, as I have, know that he's a local boy. He grew up in Daly City. He's a graduate of Daly City Public Schools. He started with the police department back in 1994 as a patrol officer, and he has steadily risen up the ranks during his 23-year tenure. He started out in patrol, as all of our officers do, but he was initially assigned to work with the San Mateo County Narcotics Task Force in a special assignment. When he came back from that assignment, he spent 3 years working as a training officer, so he had a very big hand in helping to train some of the best officers who've grown up in the department with him, and many of whom still serve in the department. In 2002, he promoted to sergeant, and he was responsible at that time for the patrol division, as well as training and recruiting new police officers in Daly City. Later, in 2007, he achieved the rank of lieutenant in the Daly City Police Department, and he became the watch commander for the patrol division, and subsequently headed up the investigations division of the department. And in 2012, a few years after Chief Martinez came to Daly City, he was appointed captain, and in that capacity he has served as the commander of our Support Services Bureau, as well as most recently as in the Field Operations Bureau. Throughout his career in all those various positions in the Daly City Police Department, Chief Hensley, I keep wanting to say Captain Hensley, Chief Hensley has also done quite a bit to improve himself professionally and academically. He had completed a bachelor's degree at Notre Dame de Mur in Belmont in Human Services Administration. He is also a graduate of the FBI Academy, the Law Enforcement Command College, and the Post-West Point LAPD Leadership School. And in 2016, I was very proud of him that he was the recipient of a scholarship to the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey to attend a master's program there in Homeland Security, which he was the top graduate in his class and received a very prestigious award, Esprit de Corps Award, named after Mr. Mark Carr. So he has prepared himself not just in the law enforcement community, but recognizing that the responsibilities of a chief extend far beyond just being a good cop. It also requires someone who has extreme management skills and understands the broader context of law enforcement in our community, and he's taken the challenge to develop the skills necessary to be the leader of our police department. And so I'm very happy that we have the 14th in our history of the police department, and I know that Pat will continue the legacy that we've established in our department, and that he will take all of the training and mentoring that he's received from our former chief, and he will pay it forward and prepare the department for the next successor somewhere down the line. Congratulations, Pat.
I'd like to thank the city manager and the city council for the support. I stand before you today very honored and extremely humbled for this opportunity, and I can assure you and assure this community that we serve that I won't let anybody down. I plan to continue all the good work that's happened with 13 chiefs before me and continue, as the city manager talked about, paying that forward, and surrounded with the incredible talent that works in the police departments. What a position for me to be in, just to kind of steer this ship and keep it moving forward. So thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to serving this community for many years.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Chief Hensley, and for your dedication to the community and in your new role. We're excited to have you.
Thank you,
Madam. Madam Mayor, if I may, Chief, City Manager made mention 1994 is when you started.
Yes.
How old were you in 1978?
13.
13, okay. I had to ask that question because coming from the law enforcement side myself with San Francisco PD, I'm glad you didn't venture into San Francisco between 1978 and 1994. The kind of like the same way where I would come home from working, and as soon as I crossed the Daly City boundary line, I knew it was different. So I have to concur with the city manager's decision, and not only for you, but the rest for Daly City PD. All the guys and gals in blue, you all pass the SWAN test. A lot of people ask me, well, what's the SWAN test? And I know that I can go home, and for the rest of the community here in Daly City, the SWAN test means you can sleep well at night. So continue that legacy, Chief, and welcome to have you aboard. And I appreciate the entire Daly City Police Department. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, so Chief, let me just say congratulations. I think we are absolutely in good hands. I also want to give real praise to Captain Gamez, who I thought did a phenomenal job as well. You guys are both outstanding individuals, and I know it was a hard decision, but you guys are really keeping us safe in Daly City, and we really appreciate all the work that you do. We look forward to your leadership. Our Daly City is a good place to be, and we thank you that you're
fun in Daly City.
yeah. So we wish you the best of luck, and we know that you're going to lead us and do us proud. So thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Go ahead. Councilmember
One Westmore grad to another Westmore grad.
Yes, sir.
You know what? I got to tell you, the whole local boy does good and gives back is something that is very near and dear to my heart. And I got to tell you, it was a tough decision. You guys are both really stellar guys. I'm looking forward to what you both together will be bringing to this adventure. I know you work well together. But Pat, I got to say that being a local and having those roots in this community are something that is to be commended. And I'm looking forward to all the great work that you're going to continue to do here. This is just a continuation of a career that's going to do really well, and you're doing really well, and I'm real proud of you. Good job.
Thank you.
Any more comments?
Yeah, just looking forward to working with you and to continue working with John, and look forward to seeing you out at events. And I've never interviewed people, and I've interviewed a lot of people where the candidates were so close together. It was like, oh my God. If we could have two chiefs, we would. But thank you very much for your service, and look forward to continuing to work with both of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next on our agenda, we do have a couple of presentations this evening. We have our annual holiday decoration contest, and with that, I think, we didn't have our meeting because of the holidays, so happy holidays and happy new year. And so at this point, we have our 18th year annual holiday decoration contest, and we have Miss Marian Mann and Monica DeVincenci from Republic that will come up, please.
Now I'm getting old.
No, never
Pat was a
old,
rookie just
only
a couple
older,
of years
never.
ago. And he was really reaching out to people, and he's still doing that now. I mean, I'm very happy with him, but if he did anything bad, I'd tell him on a heartbeat, but he's doing well. Okay, this is our 18th annual holiday decoration contest. Of the 17 homeowners associations, we had a little problem. 3 of them gave me their list on the 5th, which is a little late to get things done. And also the other organizations didn't take place. Now, we have had some incredible winners this year, and I want to ask Monica to say a few words, because the Republic Services have been so supportive of this program. They're there whenever you need them. And every time I call her, can you? She said, sure. Doesn't ask me what. Sure. Your turn.
Thank you, Marian. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the council. Happy New Year to you all. And
Can
to
you
the city
speak up
manager.
just a little bit louder?
Sure.
Yeah.
Happy New Year. We're honored to support this program. It's one that I know has been near and dear to Republic's heart even before I started, and I'm very happy to continue the tradition and to see so many homes decorated so joyously around the holidays. So I'll keep this short and turn it back to Marian to recognize everyone.
Okay, I would like the mayor to come down, and I will be giving the plaque, or the award, the clock, to Monica. And so you will read it and call that person up. Also, we will welcome the president of the association, And maybe you can take just a few minutes for families taking pictures and all this kind of stuff. So here you are.
All right, so our first Homeowners Association goes to the 2017 Broadmoor Village winner, which is the Casey Yost family. Congratulations! And we have the president.
No, I'm the secretary.
Okay, the secretary of the Broadmoor Association with us as well. So congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations.
When I stop.
Picture?
Oh, you gotta have a picture.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So our next winner is the Garden Village winner, Garden Lane residents, the Dorn family. Congratulations.
These two did all the work.
There you go.
Same thing last night.
Congratulations. 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 Okay.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1. Oh, Miriam. Compress. Compress. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Gotcha. All right. Okay.
Congratulations. Thank you. And so we have the Franciscan Mobile Home Owners Association, Philip Gorosky. Come on up. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Rare. Thank you. We have the Crocker Neighborhood Association, and it's Fernando Guevara.
Well,
It's okay.
he's won 3 times in the last 18 years.
This
If you ever
is
get a chance to drive by,
No, there's been a while.
yes. This is my neighborhood, so I definitely know the house you're talking about.
Yeah.
So you'll never miss it. So.
Next one is Hillside.
Okay. Okay. So we have the Hillside Homeowners Improvement Association, Joe Fred Deviscus. Congratulations. Oh, they're not here? Okay.
Wait. 1, 2, 3. Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, this one was there. Original Daly City Protective Association.
All right, so we have our original Daly City Protective Association, Consuela Garcia and Ramon Gonzalez. And that's probably Judith will come up.
There it is. I knew she was
And I'd
around
like to
somewhere.
invite Sylvia Alvarez Lynch, who is their neighbor. They were not able to come tonight, but she will deliver it for them.
Very nice.
A lovely decoration on a very old-style house that made me, when we drove by, it reminded us of our grandmothers.
Very nice.
Sylvia's here.
Thank you. Picture time.
Yeah, okay.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Skyline Palisades residents, and we have the Reyna family.
you.
Thank you. All right, we have Southern Hills Homeowners Association, Lee Chen. All right, and then last but not least, we have the Revilla Court residents, Linda Serafino family. Okay, okay.
One, two, three. Oh, folks. Look, I got those two.
Don't lose them.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Congratulations, everyone.
Okay, another year is done.
Oh, thank you. Congratulations. So sweet. Hi.
Good job. Yes, sir.
So I think Marie Brazala, you'd like to say something? Please come up to the.
I just want to take a moment to thank someone that makes this happen every year, Marion Mann. She's done a terrific job, and she just is there for getting everybody organized. And so thank you, Marion, for all that you do for this. And driving around and you see all the houses, you go like crazy. It's like so many beautiful houses, and I think this year we had more than last year that I noticed. And talk about choosing. In our area, we have our own event for Broadmoor people, and we couldn't decide. There were so many. We ended up giving 10 because it were so good. How do you say one's better than the other? So thank you to all the people in Daly City, Broadmoor, Colma, anywhere around that takes the time to decorate their house, to bring a lot of warmth and making that community look so wonderful and feel so good. Because as it is, that really livens you up. And I don't decorate my house.
Oh, thank you very much. And I echo the sentiment. Thank you, Marianne Mann, for doing it for so many years and leading that for our community. And it has been very wonderful when you walk around Daly City, drive around, and you see all the beautiful lights. I also see so many of them. I think people are using a lot more energy efficient lights out there, the LED lights. I do see them. And so thank you very much for doing that, and Happy New Year. So we will be moving on to our next agenda item. I think we have, a representative from the San Mateo County Samtrans, actually, Jim Hartnett, the CEO. Will he be joining us this evening?
Jim couldn't make it.
Okay, he won't be here, but we have a representative, Mr. Seamus Murphy, and he'll be talking about Get Us Moving San Mateo County.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thanks for this opportunity to talk about Get Us Moving San Mateo County and just introduce this program to Daly City residents and the broader community. I'm Seamus Murphy, Chief Communications Officer for Samtrans, and I'll just talk about the goal of the program. We do have a presentation. I'm not sure if somebody is going to cue that up. If not, that's okay. I can talk through it. It is Get Us Moving San Mateo County is at its core an attempt to learn about the priorities that Daly City residents and residents countywide have for transportation investment in the future. We have an opportunity to generate additional funding to invest in transportation solutions throughout the county, and we are hoping to learn about those priorities so that we can put together an expenditure plan that reflects what the community desires are, and will support efforts to reduce traffic congestion throughout the county, which is one of the most critical priorities facing our communities today. We've made a lot of progress over the last couple of decades. San Mateo County, I think, has been a leader when it comes to transportation solutions. We've invested in the Caltrain system. Without San Mateo County, there wouldn't be a Caltrain system, and that system takes 1 million miles, 1 million vehicle miles off the road every day around the region. And we've invested in BART, and that system in San Mateo County carries 20,000 residents every day, county residents to their jobs, to appointments, and for them to have that important mobility option that is an alternative to the single occupied vehicle.
Definitely.
Nevertheless, we need to do more. Those investments have they constituted around $500 million in total investment. Some of that has been debt service, and we are still paying some of that debt today to be able to provide those solutions, and there is more to come. I'm not sure if, maybe next slide. Thank you. So we are identifying these solutions, and public input is the most important part of that. We can go ahead to the next slide. San Mateo County is growing. We're 900,000 people, will be 900,000 people by 2040. That's a 26% increase. The segment of our population that's growing the fastest is our senior population, and those are folks who don't have their own way to get around a lot of the time. They're dependent on public transportation to be able to get where they need to go. And we're building more housing units. I think everybody agrees that we need to do more on the housing front, but the housing that is being developed is dependent on public transportation largely, and we need to provide that development with high quality transit services if it's going to be successful and if we're going to do more of it. Paratransit ridership, I already mentioned, our senior and disabled populations are transit dependent. Our SamTrans system, our bus system today, the vast majority of our riders are transit dependent. They're seniors, they're youth, they're disabled riders, and they're lower income riders that don't have another way to get around. Next slide, please. And our systems are also aging. So we have some of the worst traffic in the country. I think 15 years ago, if you would have asked San Mateo County residents what their #1 priority was, they might have said crime. 10 years ago, they probably would have said education or the economy. And now it's traffic congestion, and it's just not even close when it comes to what the #1 priority is. Our transit systems are packed. When you look at Caltrain, the increasing capacity on Caltrain is a critical issue. We're electrifying that system thanks to a number of different funding sources, including local sources, but we're going to need to do more to build on that foundation and increase capacity even more. Bridges and highways are clogged, and we need to invest more in bicycle and pedestrian improvements to make sure that people have that option to move around. Next slide, please. These are just some of the really high-profile, big-ticket items that are before us. We've done a good job planning for transportation improvements around the county. We know that there are solutions out there to help address this problem, and if you look at the next slide, you'll see that none of these solutions, next slide please, come cheap. We need additional funding to maintain our systems, to keep our systems financially sustainable. We need to invest in new projects like the Dumbarton Corridor, where traffic congestion has grown exponentially over the last several years. Caltrain Modernization 2.0 is the effort to increase Caltrain capacity and build on that electrification foundation. And managed lanes on 101 and improving that 101-92 interchange are critical. And that first or second item, I should say, the SamTrans operations, we are getting an unprecedented amount of requests for expanded bus service around the county, express services to help people get from their homes and communities to jobs. A lot of that happening here in Daly City. We need to be able to do more, and we are hoping to be able to identify which solutions are priorities for residents so that we can move forward and accomplish those goals. Next slide, please. The reason why we have this opportunity is thanks to a piece of legislation that was signed by the governor this last year, carried by Assemblymember Mullen. It allows us to put a half-cent sales tax on the ballot that would generate about $80 million a year, $2.4 billion over 30 years. It requires approval from the SamTrans Board of Directors and concurrence from the County Board of Supervisors. It would require 2/3 approval from county voters. And we're looking at the November 2018 ballot as the ballot where we would like to see an expenditure plan put before voters for their consideration. Next slide, please. And the way that we're getting the word out about this and learning about these priorities is the Get Us Moving San Mateo County effort. It's a partnership between the SamTrans agency and the county Board of Supervisors. We've invested in a lot of outreach tactics and strategies, including television advertisements and direct mail, in an attempt to learn more about San Mateo County residents' priorities. We're here at city council meetings. We'll be at every city by the end of February. We're going to be at community events and public events to make sure we really have a visual presence and that we're hearing as much feedback as we can. So far, we're making great progress. We've heard from over 11,000 San Mateo County residents have taken the survey either by direct mail or online on the Get Us Moving website. We're very pleased with how it's going so far, but we don't want to slow down. We want to make sure that we're continuing an effort to hear from as many people as we can, and we are hoping that you can help us with that by sharing the message on social media with your networks, telling us who we might connect with to get the word out in the Daly City community, and anything else that you can do to help us send this message. Next slide, please. We also have a couple of different advisory groups. One is a stakeholder advisory group that's it's composed of the transportation stakeholders, community groups who are involved in transportation issues, employers throughout the county, and business coalitions who are struggling with these same congestion issues, and a technical advisory group that's composed of the public works directors, assistant city managers, and city staff from each of the cities in San Mateo County. Daly City has been participating in these meetings. We've had 4 or 5 meetings over the last 4 or 5 months, and they've helped us identify some goals. What do we hope to get out of this measure when it is on the ballot, and helped us put together a process to identify what expenditures are really going to move the needle when it comes to congestion in each of our communities. Next slide, please. Our expenditure plan still needs to be determined, but the timeline for doing that is to take it to the SamTrans Board of Directors. There'll be a draft expenditure plan available before that, and we'd like to go back out to our communities and make sure that what we heard from them is correct, and then take it to the SamTrans Board for approval in the May timeframe, San Mateo County Board of Supervisors in the June timeframe for approval for the November 2018 ballot. Next slide, please. We want your help. We want to know how best to reach out to communities and residents in Daly City, and please help communicate that we want to hear from San Mateo County residents about their priorities so that we can get this right. Next slide, please. The website is here, getusmovingsanmateo.smc.com. We have a Facebook page and an email address. We're getting quite a bit of input and hoping to continue to get more. I'm happy to answer any questions or respond to comments.
Thank you for your presentations. At this moment, I'd like to ask my colleagues if they have any questions for our presenter.
I do, Madam Mayor. Thank you for presentation. It's very helpful. I was wondering, where does San Mateo stand on the use of autonomous transportation vehicles for the public?
Well, they're not ready for prime time, and I know there's a lot of exploration of those issues, a lot of that being done by companies that are located here in San Mateo County. We get a lot of questions about our buses and trains and whether those will be ever operated as autonomous vehicles, and we have to stay on the cutting edge. It's absolutely a technology that we're looking at to see how it might be applied, and if there are any applications that can be helpful for us achieving our strategic goals. If we can generate more service for more riders and help people get where they need to go with new technologies, then we are all for exploring those. But right now, the technology has not matured to a point where it can be put on the street, so to say.
What about the, I know that there's been some discussion with the Elon Musk proposal of, I know that he's created a series of, I think they're tubes, where it's pretty high speed connection. Has that gained any traction in the discussion? Boring, right, Boring.
He has a company called the Boring Company.
Yeah.
It's an exciting name. and a technology called Hyperloop.
Hyperloop.
That would be a high-speed, very high-speed rail system. Like autonomous vehicles, it's not something that's ready to be deployed anywhere. They're still very early in the evaluation process, and they haven't done any tests yet of any Hyperloop technologies that have been successful. We are moving forward with our own rail improvements on the Caltrain corridor to electrify that system so that we can operate faster, more frequent service to all the communities that are served by Caltrain, more of a BART-like service, you could say. And that'll increase the capacity of the Caltrain corridor by just about 43%. Caltrain trains are jam-packed in the commute hours, and so we need to absolutely do that so that we can give people an alternative to Highway 101 and 280. That is technology that's been tried and tested around the world. We're very excited to be able to introduce it in our county. Eventually, the Caltrain corridor will accommodate high-speed rail, but it will require additional improvements beyond what electrification is providing. And if there is ever a technology like Hyperloop or something else that is better, we have a corridor where it can be deployed as soon as it's ready.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I got a few questions through the chair, if I may. You know, I serve on many committees, and it seems like the problem we're having is getting the transit authorities, number one, to talk to each other. BART, Samtrans, Caltrain, you know, all of them, because I'm sure we don't want to create any redundancy. And you've taken a great step. I've taken your survey, but it wasn't detailed enough for me because we have enough routes north and south. We need to get routes east and west through our city. So if we can, if your survey can, you know, address those needs, and working with peninsula.org or commute.org, where they offer shuttle services, I think a collaboration with everyone together will really help in this regard, because there's too many silos and we just all need to get together. But that's just me speaking, but I'm sure I'll be running into you later on in the future at some other committee meeting. But I've already taken your survey, and if you don't speak, it's not going to happen. So folks really have to get involved. It only takes less than 4 minutes to do the survey. Matter of fact, I think it only took me 2.5 minutes. Just fill out, answer a few questions, click, and it's gone. As soon as you can compile the data, then that will help lead us to having an efficiency, and you're on the right track at this time. Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments?
Just thank you.
So thank you for your presentation. I do have one comment around, you mentioned that, you know, we're thankful you're here at the council meeting to inform everyone. Do you have any other opportunities that you foresee that you'll be in Daly City around any other community meetings?
Yes, we will be hosting a series of town halls throughout the county, and so we'll have at least one in Daly City over the course of the next several months. Those are still being planned out and identified, but in North County, at least one of our town halls will be here in Daly City.
Great. Yeah, I think it would be really important, given that Daly City has the largest population in San Mateo County, and all of our, you know, transit lines that run across both Colma and the BART station. About getting feedback from our residents would be very useful. So, thank you. I'm glad to see this along. I did sit on the Samtrans Citizen Advisory Committee for several years, and chaired it, and it's great to see that this is coming down the line and reaching, you know, the different communities. So thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. So moving on to our agenda, do I have a motion to approve the minutes on the special meeting on December 11, 2017?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
Abstain.
Okay, we have 2 abstentions and 3 ayes. Motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Okay, I have a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All right. Thank you. Moving on to our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to move forward with our consent agenda, please?
So move.
Second.
So moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So we are on agenda item 11. This will be the second reading for ordinance number 1415, adding chapter 8.72 to the Daly City Municipal Code, establishing healthy default beverages offered with children's meals. Attorney Zimmerman, please move.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is the second reading of Ordinance 1415. This came before the City Council at the last meeting for introduction. This is up for adoption today.
Move to adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, actually,
It's a roll
let's,
call.
okay. Madam Clerk, can we do a roll call, please?
Ms. Christensen,
An enthusiastic yes.
Mr.
I
Gangona,
just want to say one thing here. It establishes that when a child's meal is served in a restaurant or in a fast food establishment, that if it's a combination like burger and an apple and a whatever, that the beverage is going to be water or milk unless you specify otherwise, in an effort to reduce the amount of calories that have no nutrition in them that make kids be overweight. And as someone who's been overweight her entire life, it's like this is a very good thing to do. So I fully vote yes.
Mr. Gangona,
Same here.
Mr. Buenaventura,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester,
Aye.
Ms. Manalo.
Aye. This is a good thing for our young people, so yes. All right. We are now moving on to our public appearances and oral communications. Do we have any speaker cards at this moment? Okay, no speaker cards?
Oh.
Oh, yes, we are at public comment at the moment. Thank you. Okay, can we have Ms. Pamela DiGiovanni up to the mic, please? Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. I didn't get a chance, the opportunity to thank the outgoing mayor, Glenn Sylvester, the last time for his great leadership because of the late hour. But I wanted to extend the amount of time that he spent here at the city and committed himself. I want people to know at home, a lot of people know that, but I want it as a testimony, as a community member, having even been out there since now we have a new mayor. You really, really did an outstanding job and commendable. Happy you're still on the council. And remember, you're still serving us and you're not going anywhere. So we are honored to have you as our mayor and our council member and look forward to what you can do as our leadership. And to our new mayor and our vice mayor, and especially our mayor who is now the first Filipino serving our community, is making history. And we are breaking barriers, and it's nice to see that leadership. And we look forward to the great leadership, and the support of the community is very strong for you and for our vice mayor and our council. We have great things in front of us. We have a hotel that's coming up, which is great. Our TOT tax hopefully will increase. And we have a great chief, Hensley, and even Captain Gammas is still here. And we have Leo in our POA. So I want people at home to know we're in good hands and a lot of good things. And there's positive change. Sometimes change people don't understand, but it's very positive, and we're going to get some economic growth, and the community is going to come behind and support the great council members that support our police, our fire services, which in 2000, they hadn't had a raise since 2008, and under the leadership of Mayor Sylvester, who is a retired SFPD, he really strongly served as that, and I thank him for that, because we are SWAN. And thank you for explaining the acronym. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. And congratulations to our new chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. So we are moving on to our appointments. Any board or commission membership committee appointments? Okay, we do have one.
Madam Mayor, thank you for the opportunity. It would give me a great pleasure to reappoint or to renew the appointment of Ms. Christina Luna to, I believe her term is up on the commission. It escapes me right now which commission. I think it's arts, not arts and culture,
We
recreation.
can't vote on it unless we know which one. Are we sure?
Recreation.
It's recreation. It's expired at this particular time, and I would like to reappoint Christina Luna.
Okay, okay, we have a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Congratulations to Christina Luna. Any other appointments? Seeing none, we are going to move on to our agenda item 12, Council Committee. So I do have a report. We did meet. Our Affordable Housing Committee met around looking at our BMR ownership manual and also our Affordable Housing Trust and ordinance, just to ensure that we have a deeper dive into, ensuring like the monies that we have in that area is going to the needs of our community. And so we met recently, and then I think there's some more work that needs to be done, but it's definitely one of the things that we are working on in the Affordable Housing Committee, and it's one of our priorities. Also understanding that in the past year, there's state legislation such as, AB 1505 that now we can look at and see that there are potential opportunities for building or having rental on site when market rate developers build, that there's an opportunity to have more BMRs below market rate. For those of you in the audience, it means more affordable units on site.
Yeah, I was on that committee, and there's been an ongoing effort to make sure that the language in the regulations for how we spend our affordable housing trust funds, because this document goes out to developers who want to build here, and we need to make sure that the language is very clear about what our expectations are. And so with 4 or 5 people reading it, you go, that word doesn't quite say what we really want to say. So we're spending a lot of time on honing the language so that it will be precisely understood by everyone. And also to make sure that the rules and regulations for below market rate housing will be very precise as well. And we will be coming back to you in the fairly near future, in the next 6 months, with to approve these documents.
Okay, thank you. Councilman, yes.
Yes, I'd like to make a comment. I've taken the liberty to read this document, and I feel that it may be lacking in some areas. Not only is it important for the developers, but also important for the buyers of a BMR. I see that they have to occupy the residence for 10 months out of every year. Yep. But I don't see anything about any restrictions for Airbnb, or if they are permissible that they can lease out their units for Airbnb, and for what period of time, or the minimum part of time. So if the city is helping to put forth, a lower market rate property, we should also consider whether they would be eligible to lease those units out under Airbnb or any other sort of leasing program, sublease.
Yeah, we had part of that discussion, and it's like they have to live there for the 10 months. Now, many of our families have very strong ties in other countries and frequently go home to visit family for a month or a month and a half long time, and it would not prevent them from having other people live there or even renting a sublet for 30 days or however long they're out of the country. But it does not allow them anything more than the 60 days. that many families travel on. So 10 months of the year, they can't rent it out, they can't lease it out, they can't, none of that. Because we wanted to make sure that they'd be able to maintain their property for the 60 days, but they have to live there for the 10 months.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That was pretty much what we said, right?
That was it. But thank you very much, Councilmember Sylvester, for those comments.
Absolutely.
And I think there are, it's not as fine-tuned, and that's why we're going through it. So I really appreciate your comments, and that's maybe something that we should incorporate in there to delineate, a very clear delineation around exactly what you mentioned around, rentals or Airbnb within the document. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Any more comments or council committee reports? Seeing none, we're going to be moving on to agenda item. Oh, is there one more?
No.
Okay.
No, madam.
Agenda item 13, city council reports.
I have.
Okay. Please do.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have 3 comments I would like to make. At our last council meeting, it took a while, but Daly City has now rejoined the HEART program, which enables middle-class families to purchase homes in Daly City, to which we had left the program. Part of rejoining the program was to work in collaboration with the executives of HEART and include Daly City to get the news out. And I would like to say that it is very, very important to get the news out as soon as possible. Apparently, there was a workshop that's going to be held in South San Francisco on the 23rd of January. But after a 2-week delay before the information finally went out by our city, it was already full to 99 out of 100. That definitely shows a case and how imperative that many families are wanting to buy a home. So I would recommend that Daly City decides to put on their own venue to which everyone is invited to for folks to learn of the program, and it's free. And real estate professionals would be there and to provide the information. So that's number 1. Mm-hmm. Number 2, last year we got off to a pretty late start, but Madam Mayor, I would like to bring back forth the idea on Daly City having a street fair. Mm-hmm. I think now it's a good time for planning. Mm-hmm. And to incorporate the Arts and Culture Commission and the Recreation Commission to get involved. So I think we need to establish a committee and start moving forward while it's still early in the year. Mm-hmm. And then the last comment I would like to make, approximately 5 months ago, Daly City had a gun buyback program. I think it's about that time when we should consider having another gun buyback program. To my understanding, there were a lot of money left in that program, which is going unused at this particular time. So to show that Daly City is definitely being active, taking that first step and that constant step forward, that we are always on it. So those are the 3 comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for those comments, and definitely reminding us of the items that we need to work on this upcoming year. I'm excited to work with you on that multicultural or that street fair that we talked about last year. And you're right, it's early in the year. It's 2018. I could definitely move forward with that. I appreciate your comment on the HEART program. When they were here presenting, we did mention to them, well, what is the best way you can reach Daly City? And so if South City's event is full, you're correct on that. We need to create one for Daly City. And there are a lot of individuals that have mentioned and families that want to buy homes. And if this is going to help them, then let's definitely move forward with that. And I just want to ask my colleagues, are there any other city council reports?
Yes, I would like to thank Councilmember Buenaventura for taking my place on the City and County Associated Governments, better known as CCAG meeting, so that I could go see a very dear friend of mine receive an honorary award. So I greatly appreciate that, Ray. Thank you.
I like the idea that Mr. Sylvester talked about the gun buyback, and I do think that if we still have money to organize another event, I think we should. Is that something we could?
We certainly can revisit that. I do know that prior to his departure, Chief Martinez indicated to me that he had received a call from Representative Jackie Spear's office requesting that funds that had not been expended be returned because they were going to schedule a gun buyback program event in Central County, in the cities in the Central County. And so the last I heard from Chief Martinez at that time is that they were going to move forward with transferring funds for that purpose. But I certainly will follow up and find out if there are funds available.
If I can add a comment to that, it was my understanding that we do have funds left over to include $20,000 from the asset forfeiture fund to which we never utilized. So if we can get an update, that would be great.
I will find out exactly what funding is available.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be great to see what funding we have left. And then I know that was something that we mentioned previously around we have enough funds for another gun buyback. If we can take more guns off the street, that's definitely more safety for our community. So thank you very much. I just wanted to mention that there was such a wonderful turnout for Christmas in the Park. With the Pacific Islanders together, we saw both our fire and police support such a wonderful event with so many community members out there in the Bayshore. And just wanted to make mention that I was there with Council Member Sylvester and saw both our captain and our chief there, always there for our community. So it was just a wonderful event. Overwhelmingly, so many families and kids there. I also want to commend the Operation Santa Claus, that they've done that for so many years and really reaching out to the communities and getting all of those toys out to the families is huge. And that's what's so special and I see about Daly City is really community getting together and really giving back, especially in a time of the holidays and even throughout the year. And so I think that's something that, I feel proud to be a Daly City resident, that I see this such community service that continues. And so that is all I have. And so we are on agenda item 14. Do we have any staff reports, please?
None this evening, thank you.
None this evening. Okay, thank you very much. So we have some tonight's council meeting in memory of the following. We have an adjourned in memory, and Council Member Christensen, would you like to?
Yes.
You have two
Yes.
people that you'd like to.
It's with a very sad heart that I share with all of you that Eleanor Charleston has passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Eleanor was an absolutely amazing woman. She was 101 years old, sharp as a tack, great sense of humor, high energy, meticulously groomed, and a great storyteller. Anyone who ever met Eleanor fell in love with her. She never had a bad thing to say about anybody, ever. And I think what a tremendous role model for all of us. And, for you young people, that's one thing. But those of us who are up there in years, to see someone who keeps alive their passion, their energy, their love for life to 101, we all aspire to be like Eleanor. She was particularly fond of some of her history connections in Utah, where she grew up. But the Dolger Senior Center, especially the library and the book club, were at the center of her activities, and even at 101 was still participating, running the book club and the library. So perhaps in memory of Eleanor, you might want to visit the Dolger Senior Center Library. Fabulous books. You can take them out, keep them as long as you want, and bring them back whenever. But also, the History Guild of Daly City, Colma was another one of her passions. She was a very active member, and at all their meetings, they have a lovely buffet. And she was in charge of organizing the food and serving it and being so incredibly gracious for years. So many of us in the community who know her are just saddened, and it's very hard to think of Eleanor being gone. To say she was much loved is absolutely true, and we send our deepest sympathy to her family and to her million of friends who have always appreciated her. So, Eleanor Charleston, we remember you and we love you. Good one with Ed.
Thank you. I do remember meeting Miss Charleston, and she was just such an inspiration, and with her age and sharing all of her activities and what she was doing, I was definitely amazed by how much she was still doing at her age, at 100. And so, yeah, very saddened to hear that. Also, the San Francisco Mayor, Ed Lee, and I was very saddened to hear, actually just a day after we had our reorganization, that he had passed, and really was able to, he was always very gracious whenever there were any events that we would see him at. And so it's very sad to hear that that was a loss as well within the past month. And so for his family, most especially, we send our deepest sympathy.
Yeah, I have another adjourned in memory for Bunny Gillespie. Bunny, a lifetime Daly City resident. She worked as a journalist. She was an author. She was passionate about history, passionate particularly about Daly City history. And she and her husband were part of a group that founded the History Guild of Daly City, Colma. They maintained a little museum up in the Ceremony Library and pushed this council into having the Daly City History Museum be on Mission Street, which you can all visit. There's a Ken and Bunny Gillespie room in the museum that was dedicated to them to honor both Bunny and her husband Ken's devotion to the community. And we will miss her, and our deepest sympathies go out to her family and all of her many, many friends here in Daly City.
Also, another adjournment in memory of Johnny Wu. Johnny Wu was a longtime resident of the Bay Shore since 1975, and he passed away unexpectedly at the age of 78 years old on November 15, 2017. He was extremely involved and volunteered in his community in various programs and initiatives, including food banks, neighborhood cleanups, Little League sports, when his children was younger. He leaves behind his wife Anne and two sons, Michael and Ricky. Johnny will be missed by his family and friends in the Bay Shore and beyond. We also have employees and other immediate family members. George Brown of Daly City Recreation employee, Denise Brown's husband. We have
Mayor?
Yes.
May I comment on Mr.
Yes.
Brown? Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, I had the opportunity to meet George Brown in my previous profession, and every month you would get that call He was a financial advisor, and he'd always advise you to save money, save money. So when it came time for me to retire, I had a little pot saved up, and I said, okay, what do you want me to do? He said, well, put some in an annuity. I said, okay, take it all. He said, no, don't do that. I'll take half. So I'm glad he told me that, because when things came up, I had something to fall back on. So I says, what would you do after you retire? He says, don't work, get in your car and you travel for 1 year. Not that I went out and did that, but for the first year after retirement, I didn't do a thing until I got called by Council Member Ray Buenaventura to serve on the Planning Commission. He had to wait till that year was up, and I said, okay. I never told him that. But Mr. Brown really meant a lot, and it was not just me, but basically for the financial well-being of all those that he served. And he had the whole city and county of San Francisco, and he was always available. So my condolences to the family. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Zoraida Cruz Canote, Public Works Department employees, Dolores Cruz's sister-in-law. Consolacion Loricao Rodenas de los Reyes, Public Works Custodian Antonio Sartes Jr.'s mother-in-law. Elvia Mercado, Public Works Mechanic Guillermo Arguello's mother-in-law. And Bukai Von Fothon, City Clerk's Office employee and co-'s mother. So, okay.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor.
No,
I have
please.
one more. This is going to be very quick. I'd like to also adjourn in memory of Council Member Eric Reed of Belmont. Apparently, he recently passed, and I didn't know him. But, you know, when you get into political circles, and especially in such a close city in San Mateo, I think we're all like family. So I want to also acknowledge him as well. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Let's all have a moment of silence.
We have another meeting?
Yes.
How many more meetings we got?
3.
Three?
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to be moving into 3 meetings. All right. So we'll start off, just for purposes, let's do green, which is the Daly City Public Facilities Corporation first. Then we'll do the Daly City Housing Development Finance Agency. Then we'll do the successor agency to the former Daly City Redevelopment Agency.
Sorry.
Call the meeting order. All right. So we call the meeting to order for the Daly City Public Facilities Corporation special meeting agenda today, January 8th, Monday. So can we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Christensen?
Here.
Mr. Gingona?
Here.
Mr. Buenaventura?
Present.
Mr. Sylvester?
Present.
Ms. Manalo?
Present. All right. Can we have an approval of the minutes for a special meeting, December 12, 2016?
So moved.
Second.
All right. We got all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So moving on to election of officers.
He didn't know if I was here.
We have does anyone have a nomination for?
I nominate Mayor Manalo to be the president.
Second.
Okay. Any more nominations? Okay.
Move to
None?
close the
Okay.
nominations.
Second.
Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to the nomination of vice president.
I would like to nominate Vice Mayor Mr. Buenaventura as vice president.
Okay. Any other nominations?
Does that have to be second first? Oh, okay.
Seeing no other nominations, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, close, maybe have a motion to close the nominations.
So moved.
And then is there, I'll second. Okay. And motion to, okay.
Motion to elect vice
I move to elect vice president or council member or vice mayor for vice president.
All in favor, right?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to the election of secretary treasurer.
I think.
Move to nominate Glenn Sylvester for secretary treasurer.
Okay, any more nominations? Okay,
Close the nomination.
Second.
all right. All in favor for council member Glenn Sylvester for the role of secretary treasurer?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Now, any public comments? Seeing none. Okay, move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're doing the Daly City Housing Development Finance Agency. Okay, so call this meeting to order on Monday, January 8th. May we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Christensen,
Here.
Mr. Gingona,
Here.
Mr. Buenaventura,
Present?
Mr. Sylvester.
Present.
Ms. Manalo.
Present. Have a motion to approve the minutes of August 14, 2017.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so
You're running the show. You don't need to keep looking down here.
So the mayor of, okay, the mayor of the city of Daly City is hereby designated as chairperson, and the vice mayor is hereby designated as vice chairperson.
Okay.
All right, and no public appearance or oral communication, so this meeting is adjourned. All right, so moving on to successor agency to the former Daly City Redevelopment Agency, Monday, January 8th, 2018 at 7 p.m. Let's call this meeting to order. May we have a roll call, please, City Clerk?
Judith Christensen,
Here.
Mr. Gingona,
Here.
Mr. Buenaventura,
Present?
Mr. Sylvester.
Present.
Ms. Manalo.
Present. May I have a approval or a motion to approve the minutes for December 12, 2016?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to the election of officers, do we have a nomination for president?
Move to elect Justin Manal, the mayor, as president.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, can I have a motion to nominate for vice president?
I nominate Mr. Buenaventura as vice president.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, or motion to close nominations?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, all in favor for vice president as Raven Ventura?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to secretary treasurer, may I have a nomination, please?
Move to nominate Glenn Sylvester.
All right, any other nominations? Seeing none, motion to close the nominations?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, move to approve the role secretary treasurer for council member Glenn Sylvester. All in favor? Okay, aye. No public comment here, so motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Good. Thank you, especially for those minutes.
Yeah.